I hereby call this meeting of publishers of the world to order. I'm so glad all of us could get together today to talk about our ideas for the publishing world. Are you guys doing okay? You're looking a little rough. Halloween didn't treat your hair right, did it? So what ideas do we have? We want to take a Lisa Kleypas contemporary series and we want to make some of the books mass market paperbacks, but then make some of them large and hardback. Interesting. I want to take the Kate Bateman Ruthless Rival series, make them mostly mass market paperback, but then make the next one that's more like a work of art. Let's make it extra big. Diabolical. You know how the bars on the side are supposed to make people think there's a step back, but then when they're not cut out, you know that it's just a fake out? I thought we'd take Elizabeth Hoyt Maiden Lane series, do the bar so people think it was a step back, then think it's not a step back, but then throw them off again by actually making 2-page gorgeous step backs for the Maiden Lane series. Oh, that's gonna make them crazy. Why do we do this? Chaos. Hi, my name's Bea. Welcome to my channel. Mama needs to read romance and share a fabulous, mostly used book haul with you. Another meeting that could have been an email. You got that right. Hello and welcome to one of my favorite type of videos to do a book haul. I've been sitting on some of these books for months and I'm dying to share them with you. Today's book haul video is all about contemporary fantasy and paranormal romance. And I just can't wait to share these books with you. And before I move on, I have to call out Sarah, movie reviewer, who left me the most hilarious message. She's intending to help me remember to do my book haul video, which I really appreciate, Sarah. You made me laugh so hard. Thank you for that. I'm going to start with, finally got real copies of these, Fourth Wing and Iron Flame. I'm sure you've heard of these before. I had no idea I would love this as much as I did. Joanna of XO Joe recommended this and I thought, this can't be me. It's like Harry Potter meets Military Academy. And I thought, I'm never gonna like this. I loved it and I'm enjoying this one right now. Another cool thing about this is I was going through my closet recently and found an old card from my grandparents. They haven't been around for many years. I miss them very much, but in the card was $50. And so I used the money that I got from my grandparents to buy these for myself, which is kind of neat. I just feel like they bought me 2 books that I've been really excited about. I don't know that they would buy these for me, but I think they would get a chuckle out of knowing that they just got me new presents. So in case somehow you don't know what these are about, I should probably share, right? We have Violet. She is a military academy, but they're dragon riders. She's just trying to sort herself out in this new role, trying to figure out who's on her side and who's not, and then try to figure out love along the way. So it's intense. The stakes are high. It's high fantasy. There's a lot of world building, especially in this one. I'm trying not to get too lost. But it's a great series and I am really enjoying it. This book just came out at the end of October. I'm completely obsessed. I had no idea I was going to love it so much. In fact, I'm wearing the shirt right now. Look, I get to awkwardly show you another shirt. I love it. Anyway, I even have a mug too. I had to get all the merch. So we have Adeline and Jack. He's not only a kingpin in the 1920s in New York City, he's a bootlegger during Prohibition, but he is also of the Fae. She gets roped into that world, just a regular human, or is she? The second book is coming out in February, The Veil of Violence. I cannot wait. This carries the spice, the fantasy, the intensity, which I'm starting to realize I sort of like. It's so exciting. It's beautifully written. I just felt like I was in that world right away. I just love it. If you like The Great Gatsby, if you like ACOTAR, Fae, high fantasy type things, I think you would love this book. So I bought it full price after having read the ARC for free, the advanced reader's copy through NetGalley. So if I buy a book full price, you know I love it, because I hardly ever do that. Another one that just came out last month, October, I believe. I had the ARC, again, advanced reader's copy. I'm not gonna keep saying that. Remember, that's what ARC means. Sorry, I don't want to bore you, but I don't want to say an acronym that no one knows either. I fell in love with the cover. As you can tell, based on what you know about me already, I do fall for covers. I'll show you a cover in a minute that I loved that I didn't love the book quite as much. You'll see what I'm saying in a minute. This one is just fantastic. It's Jim and Pam from The Office, but then so much more. Aspen here, she has a birthmark on her face and it's kind of left her feeling less than. She comes from a broken home. He is from a perfect family, quote unquote. Not that there's any such thing, right? He has been pining for her forever, and and then finally he gets a chance to show her what an incredible boyfriend he could be when they decide to fake date at Christmas time for his sister's wedding. It was beautiful. I loved it so much. I binged it over a weekend. I couldn't stop reading. This is the first book in the series. I'm really excited to read more of Shannon Page. This was her debut novel and she was phenomenal. The slow burn, the spice, it was fabulous. And he's such a cinnamon roll, which is like my thing. So anyway, again, had the ARC, bought a copy, full price. What's happening to me? Okay, so let's talk about gorgeous covers that I fell in love with. This is on Kindle Unlimited. This is the first book in the Cocky Kingman's series. This is the cock down the block because there's a rooster, but also they talk about this a lot. I think I mentioned this the other day in my wrap up for October. I did love this. She's a curvy librarian and he is a billionaire NFL player who's desperately in love with her, and he has been for years and years. Again, we have fake dating going on. He gets a chance to show her just how much he likes her. Was this raunchy? Yes. Was it a little bit immature in terms of like the writing and the dialogue? Yes. Did I still love it? Yes. The foreword by the author explains this is just meant to be fluff. It's not meant to be serious. I really enjoyed it. It was a nice antidote to some of the heavier stuff I was reading, so I did enjoy picking this up periodically. And you could read this while mentally filing your nails. You just don't have to put a whole lot of effort into it. The next book is coming out at the end of November, this month, I believe, The Wiener Down the Way. And promises to be another fluffy, light, raunchy good time. So I may read that or not. I can't wait to see what the cover looks like. And by the way, I got this for $1 at a library sale. I couldn't believe it, especially because this is Kindle Unlimited, a brand new author. Somebody bought this and then maybe decided they didn't love it, but I couldn't believe it when I had the chance to actually have a physical copy for $1. I took it. Let's talk about some more that I just went insane over the other day during my book hunt. You may have seen that. I couldn't believe that I was able to find these. I got these for like $5 a piece at this used bookstore. This is book 2 of the Bergman Brothers series. It's probably my favorite. Always Only You. You may have seen me do like a spoof on this the other day, the Choose Your Own Adventure and focusing on Ren. I didn't have the book at the time, so I couldn't even hold it up. But now I do for $5. We have a woman with autism and rheumatoid arthritis and the cinnamon roll hero who loves her, not despite of, but through and with anything that she might consider a hang up or too much. I thought this was so beautiful to watch her learn to accept love and see that she's just as valuable a person as anyone else. And I loved him, and it was spicy and it was fun and it was beautiful, and I can't believe I own this. I'm so excited. And along with this, another author I've never seen in bookstores before, Kristen Callahan. You may have seen, not many people watched it, my football collab with Christy of Christy Reads a Lot. We talked about our favorite football romances, and she's obviously read way more than I have because she's read more of everything than I have. But I fell in love with this series. I reread the whole thing. I binged it in September. And this is book 2 and book 4. And these are 2 of my favorites. I don't know where 1 and 3 were. Like, where are they? Why were only 2 and 4 there? You know I looked and looked, by the way. I was like, maybe they misshelved them. I'm probably going to binge these again next fall because I love a good football romance, despite the fact that I've never watched football. We used to go in college and watch the marching band. It was about the marching band. Yeah. Anyway. Love. Speaking of football and love, I also fell in love with Sarah Adams. I can't believe I got this. I almost bought this at Walmart the other day for $7 and then I didn't, and then I was mad at myself. But now I'm not, because I got this for $5 at the used bookstore. But we have Nathan and her name I forgot, Bree. That's right, he keeps calling her Brie Cheese. Football player, he's a pro, she's a ballet instructor. They've got a fake date. They've liked each other for a very long time, but they never told each other. It was so fun letting them finally see it. This is Closed Door, but I did not care. It was just as swoony and I think honestly spicy. I loved it. I love a good swoon. That's what I really need. I don't care necessarily about spice. It's all about the plot and the love, and I would have loved for her to take a little bit more of an active role, but he was lovely. He was perfect. He took care of everything. Kind of like that. And guess what? Not only did they have the cheat sheet, by the way, the rule book is coming out in 2024 and I've requested the ARC. We'll see if they accept it. We'll find out. Anyway, I also got When in Rome, which some of you may have seen that I got 2 for 1 Audible deal. And of course, I also got Practice Makes Perfect. So all of these were together at the used bookstore. I don't know who in the world sold these to the used bookstore, but I was more than excited to pick them up. Have you read these? What did you think? Let me know in the comments. Can you tell I'm excited? Speaking of authors I want to learn more about, B.K. Borison. I got Mixed Signals the other day, and guess what? I probably showed you this already when I wasn't going to because it wasn't a book haul, but she signed it. And she was at an event the same night that Elena Armas was. This is also signed. Let's look at that because why not? Not that you don't believe me. There it is. Anyway, I couldn't go because I was sick. Actually, no, it was back to school night, but I still got the books. They were sent to me, but I missed meeting the authors. And in a way, I was sort of glad because I had binged this the day before we would have met her, and I didn't love it as much as I was hoping to. I didn't like it as much as The American Roommate Experiment or The Spanish Love Deception. I was expecting to. I loved the second half, but the first half was kind of meh for me. So I wasn't quite as excited. And I was afraid, I mean, not that I would have said anything unkind to her at her signing, because I think she's a great author, but I wish I could have met her. I honestly do. She's lovely. This was somewhat fun, and I am excited to get into B.K. Borison. I want to start with her Love Light Farms, which is the Christmas one, next month. You might see that in my December haul. We'll see. And then let's just keep talking more about authors that I'm completely obsessed with. Allie Hazelwood. Oh my gosh, I just completely fell in love with her Checkmate YA romance book. But anyway, I got this for $1 at a used library sale. This is the Stemnitz novellas. We have 1, 2, 3. I read them independently. I got them through my library actually, and they were a lot of fun to listen to. I think some are better than others, but they're all very good, and I cannot believe I own this. I just want to own all of the Allie Hazelwood. She's an auto by author for me, if you hadn't figured it out. Noticing anything different? Guess what? It's the day after I recorded my book haul, and of course what came last night? Check and Mate by Allie Hazelwood. It's a YA romance I gave 6 stars to. I want to thank the lovely, fabulous Amina who gave me a gift card to Amazon so I could get this. I'm so thankful, Amina. Thank you so much for the incredibly generous gift card. Everything else you got me, I pre-ordered everything else. It's not coming out until 2024. So you'll see other things that Amina generously got me in an upcoming book haul next year. But thank you for being so lovely, Amina. And it's not even my birthday yet. That would be next month. And now back to the rest of the haul, which I filmed yesterday. I also love Elle Kennedy. I got 2 of her books. I've heard mixed things about Bad Girl Reputation. Have you read it? What do you think? I also got the play. What I fell in love with, of course, as everyone else seems to fall in love with, is The Deal, which is the first in the off-campus series about college hockey players. This is Briar U, not the same series. I thought it was, but I'm still excited to get into it, and I've seen that her latest book that was just published recently, which I will put right here, is doing extremely well. People love it. So yeah, once I finish off-campus, I'm gonna jump into Briar U. I love a good college romance because then I get to pretend I'm a college student again. That's what we love, right? The escapism. Sometimes I'm 22 when I read. Sometimes I'm a college student when I read. Sometimes I'm a medieval princess when I read, right? It's fun. I also got 2 more Christina Lauren's. I got this for $1. I was so excited. And this one I think is relatively new. I've seen mixed reviews on this one. Have you read either of these? What did you think? I can't wait to learn all about them. I got this just for like $3 at a used bookstore. So I think they're in great shape though. And they don't look like they've even necessarily been read. I mean, look at the spines. They're just beautiful and colorful, and I'm adding them to my Christina Lauren collection. More authors that I really like that I'm excited that I grabbed more books too. Olivia Dade, I just read her very first book in her There's Something About Marysburg series, Teach Me, and I really liked it. So I was excited when I was able to grab another one of her contemporary romances, Shipwrecked. This looks like it's the perfect read for winter, so I'm gonna see if I can get to it then. But I love her books about curvy heroines and the men who love them. If her other books are like Teach Me, they're mature, they're well written, and they are a good time. So I already had To All the Boys I Loved Before, which is the first book and the first movie on Netflix. Have you seen it? I loved it so much. I'm not even a huge YA person usually, but when I saw this for $1.50 at the used bookstore, I had to grab it. So now I have the first 2, and I'm going to be looking out for the third, about a girl who writes letters to boys that she loved that are never meant to be sent, but then they do get sent, and then the fallout that happens after that. It's so fun. Also, I've heard incredible things about Sally Thorne. I already have The Hating Game. Haven't read it yet, but I've heard from friends that I definitely need to read 99% Mine and Second First Impressions. I got both of these at the used bookstore for under $10, I believe. I read Angelica Frankenstein Makes Her Match, which I had mixed feelings about, but I found ultimately to be fascinating. This author just seems to be a whole different type of writer, so I'm really curious to read more about her and see what I think. let's talk about a couple books that I have read before, but they have a near and dear place to my heart. I fell in love with them when I was first starting my booktube channel. I have two here. I've got The Stand-In, which at the time was my #1 most watched review or video at all, and I was so excited about it. But we have a woman who is a dead ringer for a famous Chinese actress, so she gets to pretend to be her so she can go off and have some rest. Meanwhile, she winds up falling in love with the #1 actor in the world. It was fun. And Closed Door, if you're interested in that as well. People frequently ask me for Closed Door recommendations. I need to do a video about that. But anyway, I enjoyed this book very much, and I was excited when I was able to grab a copy for just $1. Additionally, The Dead Romantics. You see this one talked about all the time, especially in October, about a woman and a ghost who fall in love. I referenced this one quite a few times when I read Ghosted by Sarah Reddy, which I thought was exceptional on its own and very different because the Ghosted actually has a bunch of spice. This one does not. This is another like Closed Door, but it still brought the spice, the intense emotion, the love, and I love the small town feel. So I'm really excited to have my own copy of this after having enjoyed this. I buddy read it with Kelsey of Essentially Booked, which was so much fun. And that was ages ago. Poor Kelsey. She's like, do you want to buddy read? And I was like, well, what does that mean? What are we supposed to do? So she had to teach me how to buddy read. Anyway, I've learned so much now, Kelsey. Thank you, by the way, for that, like over a year ago. Excited to have this in my library, especially in October. Okay, now I want to talk to you about contemporary authors I haven't read yet, but I'm very excited about. I want to know your thoughts. Do let me know in the comments. I have Penelope Douglas. Everybody talks about Birthday Girl. At some point, I need to read it. But I found 2 books in her follower series, Bully and Until You. And these are the first 2 books in the series. This is about childhood friends turned enemies, and then I think their intense attraction then obviously turns into love. This is from her perspective. This is from his perspective. I'm intrigued to read this, but I'm not sure that it might not be the right subject matter for me. If you've read this, let me know. I've heard good things, but I don't know if I'm gonna like it, because I don't like any kind of bullying or intense, like when people are mean to each other. So this may not be for me. I bought this at a used bookstore. It was very inexpensive. So if anything, I might put it in a free little library, but yeah, I'm not sure. But I've wanted to read Penelope Douglas. Everybody talks about her. Speaking of another author that everybody loves, Corinne Michaels, I was able to get the first and the fourth and final book of the Second Time Around series. We've got childhood friends to lovers, and he's now a celebrity, which looks really fun. And this one, she falls for her assistant, who initially she really doesn't like because he wants her job. They have really good reviews on Goodreads. So if you've read Corinne Michaels, let me know if you like her. I'm excited to try her. And these books were so gorgeous. I got them at a used bookstore for $7 a piece. It was a little pricey, but these are really gorgeous. Also, get ready. You're going to die. I got these 3. It's a trilogy. They had all 3 of them and they're gorgeous at a little free library. You'll be seeing that in an upcoming video. I couldn't wait to show these to you. I know I could have waited, but I just couldn't. Anyway, did that make sense? So this is a book. Really? This is an arc about a couple. It's actually really intense and hard at first. They are in a plane accident. One of them loses his fiance in the plane crash. And so he's trying to get over that, and he winds up falling for another woman that was in the crash, is what I'm gathering. But it's supposed to be really intense. Caitlin, the love librarian, gave it 5 stars and said it was perfection, at least the first one. But look at these covers. This is the first one, The Difference Between Somebody and Someone. And then the second book is The Difference Between Somehow and Some Way. And then third and finally, The Difference Between Someday and Forever. Woo! Looking forward to them. Can't believe I got them for free. The next 3 authors, I don't have a lot of context for, but I've heard the names a lot. You gotta tell me what you think. I always appreciate your words of wisdom. You've never steered me wrong. Jasmine Guillory. What do we think? What do we think? I got these for $1 a piece at a library sale. I couldn't help myself. We've got While We Were Dating and Drunk on Love. Cute Fake Dating, Hollywood, Family Winery, One Night Stand with Tech Billionaire turned much, much more. Okay, he has this high salary tech job. It doesn't say billionaire. I don't know. Maya Banks. I've heard great things about her historical romances, but here we have With Every Breath. This is a contemporary romance. This might be a little too dark for me, but I really want to give it a whirl. Yeah, this is about a woman who's, as a teenager, has a predator, like a stalker. She puts him away, and then it looks like she falls for a man who saved her life later on. I'm actually a little confused by this. Does the guy who stalked her come back to love her? Does anyone know? Someone has to tell me. What is this about? I've understood Sarah Dessen to be a very popular YA author. I was able to grab this for $1 at a book sale. It also has an extremely high review on Goodreads. I know I don't always trust the Goodreads, but when you see a really high score, you know it's probably quite good. So I did get this. This is the only Sarah Dessen that I own. If you know of another Sarah Dessen I should be looking out for, let me know, because I do see them frequently at library sales. But this looks so cute, about an adorable guy next door who helps her figure out who she really is. And it's called What Happened to Goodbye, by the way. Anyway, let me know what your thoughts are. I've heard a lot of good things, and I'd like to dive in to know more about this author. Some of you may remember a while back I did a video on books that gripped me and never let me go, and this is a YA. This is a kind of romance. They made a movie, which was fantastic, and then there have been multiple spin-offs of Every Day by David Levithan. It's about a person named A who wakes up every morning in the body of someone else who is his same age. And one day A falls in love with a gal named Rhiannon. And so A does everything that A can to see her as much as A can. It was beautiful. A wakes up in so many different people, both males and females. It was so interesting to see. I just adored this book. It was so fascinating, and I loved reading more books in the series. So I was really excited to be able to pick this up for $1 at a library sale. I also grabbed You Know Me Well. This is by David Levithan and another author. What's so fascinating is we have a hero and a heroine who are best friends, and each of them is actually in love with their own other best friends, their same-sex best friends, but they work together. And the fact that each David Levithan and Nina LaCour write this as one character and then the other, I was so fascinated. Let's talk about books I haven't read, but I love because I love the movies or the television shows. Just Like Heaven. I mentioned earlier the book Ghosted by Sarah Reddy, and then also The Dead Romantics, obviously, by Ashley Poston. I always think of those when I think of Just Like Heaven, where we've got a real guy, Mark Ruffalo, who I just love, and then Reese Witherspoon plays the ghost. I've seen so much about Daisy Joan and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I haven't seen the movie, I haven't read the book, but I want to do both. And when I saw this for $1 at a library sale, I just couldn't say no. It's about a gal meeting a rock band in the 70s, I want to say. One of my favorite movies ever, Under the Tuscan Sun. I've heard that what's funny about this book is it's very different from the movie, that they really turn the movie into a romance, whereas this is more about actually converting a house. But it is based in the same area. So I adore the movie, the soundtrack, all of that. And to get this book, I just had to get it. I couldn't pass it up. I know it's going to be very different from the movie, but I don't really care. Now, this isn't a movie, but this was a TV show, Younger, about a woman in her early 40s falling for a man who's 26, just figuring out life, living in the city, moving on after breaking up with her husband. And I really enjoyed the show, although it's a little edgy for me, but I really did love it. I'm so excited to get into this book and see how it is similar or different from the show. And then this one, I have heard so much about Red, White, and Royal Blue. I cannot wait to read this book. I know Amazon Prime made a movie that people have told me is fantastic. So when I had the chance to buy this for a couple bucks at the used bookstore, I took it, and I can't wait to dive in. I was able to grab this at a library sale for $2. I was very excited. This is up currently for Best Romantic Comedy on Goodreads for the year 2023. So heard a lot of buzz about it. Honestly, don't know a whole lot of what it's about, but I sort of want to go into it blind. This looked so cool. I got this for 50 cents at a library sale, a little something different. We have two people who are shy and they really like each other, but the story is told from the perspectives of other people that see them in the park, including a squirrel. So it's really interesting to see. I think it's like 12 different perspectives of their love story, from like the meet cute to whether or not they're going to wind up together. So I thought this sounded so neat. And it's by Sandy Hall, by the way. I had to get this one. This was in the historical romances, but it doesn't seem like it's very old. The reason I got this is because of how gorgeous it is fall-wise, even the spine. And then, are you ready to die? Get ready. There's the step back. Look at this. Did you think we weren't going to have any step backs today? Oh, yes, we are. This might be the only one. No, wait, no. Wait till you see my other one. Oh my gosh. But I just love a good fall wedding. So cute. I had to get it for 49 cents. This one I had to grab. This was like $10. I was like, well, let's just get crazy. Hockey Hotties #1. Yes, that is literally the name of the series, Hockey Hotties. I saw the other covers for these. Like, look at this cover. This is the other cover. Whoa! And wait till you see the other covers. Maybe you will if you look it up. But this one is so crazy. He has a one-night stand with a gal and then wins the game. And you know how superstitious they can be. He feels like he needs to be with her every night before a game. I thought the premise was so creative and just laugh out loud that I had to go ahead and get this. And I mean, I love a good hockey series. And when I saw the chance to get the first one in the series, I was like, let's do it. So we'll see if it's worth it. I love a good seasonal book, and Rayanne Thane, who I've read some of her stuff for Christmas, looks so cozy and fun, and I'm sure this is another heartwarming book about community that has some romance thrown in, so I am excited to dive in. This one looked really fun. The Heart of the Deal. I grabbed this for $1 at a library sale, just not knowing anything other than reading the summary. It sounded really interesting. We have a woman who's got her whole plan for how her life is going to go by the time she turns 30, so she goes on this dating app and decides she's going to find the perfect man who fits all the boxes, but then finds kind of a poet, and then decides maybe that she needs to change her plans in order to really have what she needs. This looked like a lot of fun too. Here for the drama. I don't know why there's only one girl on the cover, because it seems to be sort of an ensemble cast deal. We have two best friends, one of whom wrote a play that winds up getting produced in England. So they go over to England. One keeps butting heads with the director, enemies to lovers, anyone? And then the other friend seems to fall in love with another guy who's working on the play. I love doing Apple things, especially in September. So when I saw this for $1 at a library sale, a second bite at the Apple, I thought this was really cool. It's about a woman who's given up on love. She's a food writer, and then she gets the story opportunity of a lifetime. But unfortunately, it could also make or break her career and the relationship that's just taking flight. So it looked fun, and I love this cover. And now we're veering more into women's fiction, I believe, but I thought this was such a neat idea, I had to get it. The Most Likely Club. We have 4 friends. They haven't really known each other in quite a while, but they get back together at their 20th high school reunion to see how they've changed, what needs tweaking, and where they're going to go from here. It looks like a really neat entering middle life story of analyzing and acceptance, or words like that. By Alyssa Friedland. Since I was covering it, I apologize. So I found 2 books that the covers just called to me. I could not help myself. These are 2 books in the Love at the Chocolate Shop series. What is not to love about that? These are so cute. They look like super sweet romances, and they're mostly seasonal too, which I also become obsessed by. I got book 4, The Chocolate Cure. I mean, look how cute this is. I love the art. And book 5, The Valentine Quest. And they're just like cozy little rom-coms in a small town. Just what you want and need on certain days, right? So I'm just really excited to have these, and I'm going to keep my eyes peeled for more of these because they're just so darn cute. And now for something a little bit different. These are not contemporary romances, believe it or not. I have a book that I got for $1 at a used library sale, The Midnight Library. This book I read years ago. It rocked me. I think about it still all the time, about a woman who's done with life. She decides to end it all, but winds up in the library in the middle of nowhere at midnight. And every time she opens any book in the library, she winds up falling into her life on another timeline if she had made other choices. It is fascinating. I can't recommend it highly enough. Carrie Mulligan does the Audible version, and she does a gorgeous job. So highly recommend. I thought this was so cool. I had to grab this, Mr. Darcy's Diary. This is supposed to be if Mr. Darcy was writing his own account of the things that happen in Pride and Prejudice. It's so interesting. I cannot wait to read this. I want to read Pride and Prejudice again and then read this right after. It sounds so cool. I also grabbed Anna Kendrick's Scrappy Little Nobody. I thought this was so cute. I love her. And I've wanted to read her biography. So when I saw this for $1, I had to say yes. Many moons ago, I did a try a chapter challenge on witch romance, and I almost read the first book of the Cousins O'Dwyer trilogy by Nora Roberts, Dark Witch. I didn't wind up going with it. I thought it might have been dark, but I've heard nothing but great things. Well, thanks to my local used bookstore, it's not really local, it's actually pretty far, I was able to get book 2, Shadow Spell, and book 3, Blood Magic, which of course are different sizes. So now I have all 3 books in the series. Can you believe it? I have not read Nora Roberts. Where have I been? What have I been doing? Whitney of Tibera's Den is always going on about how great she is. I know I need to read it. I read The Warlord Wants Forever, which is the prequel to the Immortals After Dark series, which I found to be bonkers. I still want to read this series because Lynn of Lynn's Romance Library said that Cressley Cole is the Lisa Kleypas of paranormal romance. Say less, Lynn. Say less. I mean, come on. So I'm definitely going to continue reading this series. I actually got the first book in the series, A Hunger Like No Other. So I'm really excited about that. I also got book 11, Lothair, and book 13, McCreeve. I love the art on the sides of these too. Can you see it? You kind of have to catch it in the right light. On this end here. Isn't that neat? And this guy's eye was covered by a sticker and I couldn't see what it looked like. And then I took the sticker off and I was like, ah! It was something. Maybe you had to be there. The Highlander series by Karen Marie Moning. You may have seen this in my book hunt the other day, but I was able to get this for 50 cents. This is the better copy. I have another copy, but it looks kind of old. This one matches the rest of the copies. Now my books are falling, by the way. So this is the first book in the Highlander series. I enjoyed it mostly. He's kind of a caveman, but I think that's to be expected in the Highlander series. And then I also got the 8th book in the series. This is the final book. I've listened to this one and I really, really enjoyed it. So I'm glad to have a physical copy, even though it's different size from all the other books in the series, just to make me crazy. Oh well, what are you gonna do, right? So I mentioned Kristen Callahan a minute ago with her football romances and how much I love this author. She's also done a Victorian era paranormal series called the Darkest London series. This is book 2, Moon Glow. I am so excited to have this. I actually started reading the prequel on BookFunnel. I was able to find it online, so I was able to read it for free, but it was very tricky to find. It's amazing how you can do that sometimes. I wound up not having enough time to read it, but I do really want to get into this series at some point and just read all the Kristen Callahan I can, because I just love her and I love her version of Spice. It's great. Continuing on with paranormal, I'm excited about Midnight Sun. Bam! It's part doorstop, part book. This is the Edward version of Twilight. This is told from his perspective. I started listening to this ages ago. I didn't get around to finishing it. I don't know why. But it was really interesting to see why he fell in love with her in the first place. And you get to see a lot more events that aren't even in the first book of Twilight. So I'm really excited to read this. My friend Julie and I of Just Julie are going to be doing a half the year long read along of the entire Twilight series. I think it's going to be a good time. So this is definitely going to be in there. And I was excited to get a physical copy for, guess what? $1 at a library sale. Thanks to Joanna, I fell in love with Once Upon a Broken Heart when we were doing our historical romance readathon together in August. And I got this book. It's the first in the Caraval series, which goes along with the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. I was so bummed because I could have bought the other 2 books in the series, the European versions, and one of you noticed in the video that I totally skipped over it in my older book hunt. I went back to get it and they were gone. I'm so mad, but at least I have the first book in the series. I'm really excited to finally getting around to the Caraval and the Once Upon a Broken Heart series. This is part of the Demonica series by Larissa Ione. I've heard great things about her. I've really wanted to give her a try. And when I saw this for 50 cents, I couldn't pass it up. All about vampires and a battle that they're fighting. So I think I shared with you that I've been collecting all of these Avon anthologies from like the early 90s that are actually not that easy to get. I've been collecting them slowly but surely at different sales. So guess what I got the other day for 50 cents? Bewitching Love Stories. So now I have a 4th one. I'm really excited. These, by the way, are all paranormal and fantasy, well, mostly paranormal love stories written by Avon's finest from the early 90s. Got some fun witch books for you. We've got Halloween Hex Appeal. We have a woman who turns her cat into a waitress. What could possibly go wrong at her cafe? But then someone winds up dead. And our witch needs to find out who done it. This one, Boss Witch, looks like a lot of fun. Part of the same series with Witch Please, which I almost could have gotten for $7 the other day and then I didn't, and now I'm mad at myself I didn't get it. But this is all about romance and relationships for a witch who's looking for love. I'm looking forward to getting into this. I have heard so much about the Six of Crows series. Everybody I know, it seems, has read this. It's also a Netflix show. And I saw this for $1 at a library sale and I had to nab it. It looks like it's a group of people, 6 6 people, surprise, surprise, who work together with their special talents to do something. They're doing something. Let me put that in all my book reviews. They do something. So this series was fascinating to me. This is a YA series, the Selection series. I have book 2, The Elite, and book 3, The One. 35 women in some future society have a life laid out for them, but 35 are chosen. Basically, it's like a bachelor type thing. They go into this palace. They're trying to win the heart of a prince. Obviously, only one can win, but one of the gals is in love with a guy who's in a lower caste than her. However, once she meets the prince, she starts to question things. Ever heard of a little show or book series called Outlander? You have? Well, guess what? I got 2 books in the series. These books were so gorgeous. They're a bit worse for the wear, but I couldn't help myself. This is Dragonfly and Ember. Obviously, it's part of the Outlander series. Look at this step back. I've seen copies of this series all over the place, but I have never seen one with a step back. So I thought I had to get this and show you guys. I thought you'd appreciate it. I also got Voyager. It has a step back. It's not nearly as good, so don't get too excited. But I did think that this was beautiful. So this is another book in the series, obviously. Just lovely. Incredible art. So yeah, definitely worse for the wear, but worth it for 50 cents a piece. For $3, I also nabbed 3 books in the After series by Anna Todd. We have After. This is book 3, After We Fell. And this is book 4, After Ever Happy, which is confusing. It follows a college gal and apparently a somewhat toxic relationship of like enemies to lovers. It's grumpy sunshine. This one follows a young woman in college who, even though she has the perfect boyfriend, falls for a bad boy. Looks interesting. This looks like it might be a little toxic. I can't say too much about it because it is impacted by the first book. And then this is the same couple again. So this is their arc. I know a lot of people have read these. Wow, 1 billion reads online, it says. Holy cow. So if you have, let me know what you thought. I don't tend to go for military romance because it can be a little too dark and stressful for me, but this looked so good. The Unsung Hero by Susan Bruckman, who wrote the original Bodyguard. Remember that movie? Maybe in the 90s if you were around, I don't know. Anyway, this is about a Navy SEAL who, look at this. I mean, come on, look at this step back. A Navy SEAL who is recovering from a head injury, but then sees something bad happen, like Rear Window style, Alfred Hitchcock, if you know what I'm saying. He bands together this group of people who are going to help him bring down the bad guys, and one is the sweet, sweet girl next door. So this looked really fun and I couldn't help myself. I mean, look at this. So I've recently discovered my love for cozy mysteries. Some of you may remember my books just keep falling. I did a 1-minute review or 3-minute review at the time of Catch Me If You Candy, a Halloween mystery from the Bake Shop Mysteries. This is book 17. Despite the fact that I'd never read the series before, I felt like I could dive right into the series. I enjoyed it so much that I've tried other books in the series. I wound up getting 2 more of her books at a used book sale. These are part of another series called the Sloane Krause series. These are more based on like a brewery, but Sloane is introduced in the Bake Shop Mysteries, so that's pretty cool. We've got The Cure for What Ails You and Without a Brew, and I love these covers, so I'm really excited to try these as well. I also got this one in a little free library, Murder, She Wrote, Trick or Treachery. We've got Jessica Fletcher, folks, and it's a Halloween one. I got this just after Halloween too. I'm so bummed. I wish I had gotten it earlier because I would have loved to have read it. I loved this series growing up. I used to watch it with my grandparents, actually. I am excited to finally own a copy that I got for free. So yay. So those were my books. I had so much fun. That was more than 75. If you're still here, you should get a trophy. And I watched all of a really long book haul trophy. I had so much fun. Thank you for sharing in my fun, in my joy. I love to share it with you. Now I'm gonna have to see how I'm gonna get these on my shelves. Honestly, I do have some bookshelves downstairs. I might put my cozy mysteries down there and just focus on romance up here. We'll see what happens. I'll let you know. Don't worry. I hope you're doing well. I hope you're enjoying whatever it is you're reading, whether you decide to book haul it or not. Until next time, thanks so much. Take care. Bye.